Hello, happy Monday. Awesome. So we're at time. And also I see I didn't put MTTP in the agenda, but I do want to highlight it because it is looking pretty awesome. So MTTP at the moment for July is 12.5. So huge shift, which is awesome. Main thing here is we've tweaked the branch times a little bit. So they're fitting, well, certainly from my side, they're fitting really nicely on my day. But also Graham has started deploying as well, which is making a significant difference. So that's pretty awesome to see. So what I think we'll do, Mary made a great suggestion last week. If we get a couple of weeks around this target, then we'll drop the target back to 12 hours and continue on from there. So that is big news. One additional thing I learned last week around MTTP is on this chart. So this is the one that links out of the handbook. We actually only track deployments on days that have a deployment. So it's excluding all weekends naturally, which I think is a really good thing. And it will automatically exclude family and friends and things like that. It does mean there's a side effect. If we have a really big incident and we don't deploy anything, it will also exclude that day, but that's a reasonably rare event. So I think it's kind of fine. So yeah, this is tracking MTTP in hours for days that have at least one deployment. Awesome. So loads of announcements. I'll just whiz through, shout if there's anything that you want to highlight. So Henry is out now until the 26th. SEO about to go out as well. This Friday is Family and Friends Day. So if you haven't got that planned off, consider taking that one. Last week, you will have had a number of alerts, I'm sure. We're doing an updated check-in on the engagement survey. So Ruben, you most likely didn't get these. These just were the infra department, so that's fine on that one. But for everyone else, if you haven't done that yet, please do. And most excitingly, on Wednesday, we have an AMA. So if you have any themes you'd like to go through, then let me know. Otherwise, I'll just announce it tomorrow as a kind of a regular one. And we can just open it up, see if there's anything we want to seed it with, or if there's any questions we want to ask each other, please go ahead. Awesome. So on discussion, discussion things are in progress. So thank you for all the comments so far on this one. If there is anything you think we need to additionally consider, please feel free to drop it in. But one thing I was thinking around, so it looks like we're sort of moving towards having a single OKR, which will be most likely something around hardening the Kubernetes cluster. So we're quite close. We're in the progress of having the web migrated, and that will mean that pretty much all of our stateless services are there. Pages is the only other one that will come soon. But one thing I wanted to think about as we sort of move into this, what comes next is what do we need to change? So what does having pretty much our whole like everything we're deploying, so we'll be doing like all these sort of jobs that we have at the moment around the web fleet will be in Kubernetes. What do we need to be altering on our deployment side, either because we can make it better with Kubernetes or because we're losing stuff because we're on Kubernetes?
Well, something we lose is the ability to run deployment metrics check during batches of the fleet, because we are running, basically we can run between clusters. So our smallest batch became a cluster.
Yeah.
And there's been a long conversation around this with distribution as well. The problem here is charts. So charts are not designed for this type of things. And when we started this conversation, we said, yeah, if you are actively looking into an operator, we would like to have some kind of hook into the operator to where we can instrument things like that, right? So some specific checks or just ability to halt or stop a deployment. And they say, yeah, this is a good idea, but I think we are far away from having an operator. And the Kubernetes migration, on the other hand, went faster than the operator work.
Yeah. The operator stuff is progressing probably end of year. So yeah, we're a little way out for that one. Okay, yeah, that's an interesting. That's a good point. What about rollbacks? Does anyone know? Do you know how the impact of the way we have Helm on Atomic? Do we know how that hooks in terms of rollbacks? I will. So I'll follow up, because one thing I want to make sure we are sort of thinking about going forwards is as we make decisions on kind of the Kubernetes cluster setup, we're tying these into deployment things. Like I think in the past it was slightly less critical because they weren't basically totally the same. But as we go forwards now, I know there's conversations around how we apply Helm changes, and Helm does auto rollbacks, which we need to be careful of. Like that could have unexpected things around how we do deployments. So I'll open up well, there are issues already. I'll highlight the issues and pull these together so we can actually think about how these things happen.
But we are using Helm with weight. So from coordination perspective, so from the deployer side, either it applied or it's reverted, because that's the point, right? So when you are operating Helm, by default, you can say, just apply this. And if you don't ask him to wait, it would just say, yeah, this is the new manifest, I published it. And then eventually the cluster will come to the new state or roll back. But we are not using this feature. We wait, which means that either it's applied or it's rolled back. But we know this because we are waiting for we are checking it for the pipeline from the deployer.
And what so if it rolls back? Does that cause us any problems?
Why should it cause a problem?
I'm just wondering if it doesn't mean. Do we have?
Okay, no, but I think I was asking if you had some specific use case in mind. So, in that sense, it sounds like it's better than virtual machines, because let's think about some incident that we had during last release management ship. So we had machines that were not able to start, not able to install, right? So in a virtual machine world, we end up with a failed deployment and machines that are not actually running because they are outside of the load balancer and they are broken. While here, I'm not entirely sure about how we handle the load balancer, and I see no one from the SRE team of our team here to just help me on this. But basically, let's assume that we are doing the Kubernetes magic here. So we do health check on pod level and things like that. So in that sense, the deployment failed because we are not able to upgrade. But the cluster rolls back to the previous known state. So we are not losing capacity of the fleet.
Yeah.
So it sounds, we have to double check if that's true, but it seems to be better than what we have with virtual machines.
Yeah. It should always be in one of two states, right? It's not just out of rotation. So, cool. Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. I will start pulling this stuff together because yeah, once we, the kind of the future of deployments is we'll be able to use more Kubernetes stuff. So we should sort of like start thinking about what do we want that to look like? Like how do we pull that stuff together? Awesome. So the other piece I had, and this is more of a awareness thing, but I put it in discussion just in case people have comments, is so registry is getting close to being ready for deployment and then the migration starting. So I shared here the timeline they're going through. So Henry has been DRIing on this, but with him being on PTO and then release managing, that will change a little bit. So just as awareness, it will most likely affect Graham and Scarbeck, but just as awareness, like some things may reprioritize around this so we can support package through their migration. Cool. Any questions or comments on either of those?
Today I learned that we can do Gantt chart in merge request descriptions in issues and epic. I've never seen that before.
I'll be expecting it from all of you on all your projects. I used the Gantt chart once on one of my projects just for fun, and it was like the most disastrous project I've ever been involved in. We basically had to revert the entire thing. So that's it. I was like, I'm never going to use one again. It clearly, like, it was just too fixated and cursed the whole thing.
You have a strange definition of fun.
Awesome. Is there anything else anyone wants to bring up on the recording?